Hey everyone, today we're going to discuss understanding sexual promiscuity after abuse, rape, sexual assault. People have a lot of judgment. I know that uh, there's this kind of talk going around of, oh, what's up with this person? She's a survivor of sexual abuse and she sleeps with everyone. And there's kind of that judgment there instead of an understanding around it. So let's talk about why this comes up, how this comes up in people's lives, and it's not always a bad thing. My name is Tanya. I am a nurse. I work with mental health experts, psychologists, therapists in order to help abuse survivors. I do have a nonprofit to help survivors of abuse, and I am a trauma healing coach. So that's my background. So let's start with Pablo. Pablo is a Spanish guy. He says that what happened to him was when he was about 12 or 13 years old, he was seeing this girl. She was older than him, and then he was very drunk, and she ended up taking advantage of that. And that's how his virginity was taken. So he was sexually assaulted by her, his virginity was taken. And what he noticed is that he began to sleep with just about everybody. Whoever he wanted to, he would sleep with them without any qualms. And the same goes for other survivors that I've been working with. So they're like, yeah, I slept with everybody. And if we want to understand why that comes up, and it's not a bad thing, it's because they have had a loss of control, a loss of power. When somebody is sexually assaulted, it is taking a person's greatest power. Imagine the power of reproduction that lasts forever. You have a baby that lasts forever. What a power. And it's abusing that power. That's a massive abuse of someone's power. So that's a massive power to abuse. And that's why it has such an effect on people. Now, their response was to be sexually promiscuous as a form of reclaiming power and control, because now Pablo could say, I will have sex when I want to have sex with whoever I want to have sex with, I will choose. And this is my form of having a reparative sexual experience and of doing this over again, but in my way. And often in therapy, you do see that people are seeking reparative experiences, even going so far as with sexual abuse survivors to go back and to have sex with their rapists, because subconsciously they are looking for a reparative experience, saying, that was a terrible, terrible experience. I was powerless. But now I am going to be powerful and I'm going to do it my way and I'm going to be in control. And so it's seeking subconsciously this reparative experience. Another way that it comes up, coming from other survivors, is there's a lack of ability to say no. So it's not necessarily that people are reaching out saying, hey, everybody, do you want to have sex with me? But they have a problem saying no, so that whenever the opportunity arises, they cannot say no. Either they cannot say no because subconsciously they're afraid that if something is starting and they say no, and then they're not listened to, then they have to deal with the fact that they have been assaulted twice or three times or however many more this extra time that they've been assaulted. Then at least they can turn back and be like, well, I wasn't assaulted because I didn't say no. And at least they don't have to live with having been assaulted again and deal with that trauma again in a backwards kind of way. The other reason that people feel they cannot say no is whether sometimes they're in an abusive relationship, and so they're like, well, I'm in this relationship where I'm reliant either mentally, economically, financially on this person, and if I don't make them happy, then I am not safe, or I am not financially provided for, or they can lash out at me. So it's sexual promiscuity in the sense that they just cannot say no. And so whether that's in a relationship or outside of a relationship, for example, in the Holocaust, women would also use their sexuality and be more sexually promiscuous when there was hunger in certain situations because that would be their way of getting what they needed. And so it's used also as a survival tactic, whether or not that person's in a relationship. They can say, I'm going to say yes to sleeping with these people because I need them for protection. I need them because I need a roof over my head. So it's coming from a survival mechanism, which also, if we understand that, that's not a bad thing in certain circumstances. It's unfortunate that people have to use that, but it's not something to judge them for. The final point I want to discuss is about this one woman who is a survivor of childhood sexual abuse. And she says, I really love sex. I need sex. I need to have it a lot, super often. And it's something that I need. And if you think about that, that sexual promiscuity, if you want to call it that, is coming in part from a need to feel human connection, to feel validation. Because when she was growing up, that might have been her only form of human connection, her only form of validation, unfortunately, in a very twisted way. And so that also happens in adulthood where people can say, I have been through so much loss and abuse and trauma. I need human connection. I need to feel loved. I need to feel cared for. And so being sexually promiscuous is their way of getting that human connection that they really feel that they need. And so I hope that this small discussion about sexual promiscuity after abuse helps you understand abuse survivors a little bit more in terms of how it affects their sexuality and why they react that way. And it's not always a bad reaction because there are reparative experiences and there are situations where people have done that throughout history because they needed to. So it's not saying this is a great situation to be in, but it's understanding why people would react that way without judgment. So I hope that was informative for you. If you would like to discuss this further, because this is a huge topic, you can post any questions or comments below. I would love to hear your feedback. There's so much more that has not been discussed about this. So if you would like me to talk about other aspects of it, please let me know as well, either in the comment section below or by reaching out to me through my website that you can see at the link below. Thank you so much.